Hello everybody, Andrew Casey at Hypersanity Books. Today we're taking a look at Tommy Lee Jones and some different writing tips to various roles that he's played, and a zero tolerance or no BS. There is something about this actor and a lot of the roles that he's played that is interesting for some writing tips. Otherwise, let's just get into it. Number 1, Men in Black.
There was no alien. The flash of light you saw in the sky was not a UFO. Swamp gas from a weather balloon was trapped in a thermal pocket and refracted the light from Venus.
When you look at the premise of the Men in Black films, you can see that his character is obviously hiding something because that's part of the general protocol. Not everyone wants to know what's out there. Now, yes, we are talking fiction, not a documentary, but with Tommy Lee Jones, you look at the dialogue with his character in the different interactions with characters in the story, that he is covering something up. But within the story, he's also working above top secret, above parts of the normal, proper governing channels, as a part of the government with the Men in Black.
Who the hell are you?
INS Division 6.
Division 6? I never heard of Division 6.
Really?
And what he does to help other people. Now, yes, some of the different stories that they make up when wiping someone's memory is a little bit far-fetched, but again, it's just part of the premise of the story to have good intentions. But within there, with the dialogue, there is no sympathy when he is flashing the other lady to forget her husband. So there are some darker tones of the story, but again, you look at the dialogue and you look at the deadpan side of Tommy Lee Jones with this character, it's interesting as a take. And each movie is a very different role of the same character.
On a more personal note, Beatrice, Edgar ran off with an old girlfriend. You're going to go stay with your mom a couple of nights, you're going to get over it and decide you're better off.
Number 2, Men in Black 2.
You're back.
No,
How'd you know his head would grow back?
it grows back.
We're looking at this character in the reborn phase, where he had his memory wiped at the end of the first movie, went back to his wife, and there's a lot of personal sacrifice when doing certain professions, especially in certain detective roles. There is a lot of personal sacrifice to having a personal life when you're helping your community, and within this story there's no exception. So having a more conservative job, even at the post office, when it's starting to reveal the alien side of things, he still has a zero tolerance to bullshit with alien smoking. And again, yes, the story is unfolding as he's starting to determine some certain things that he never saw before, or as to what he knows, and as his memory's coming back, there was something on how the story was written. Though within the second film, there was a big point about the personal sacrifice of the J character, when you have emotional attachments to other people. And it's one of those sorts of moments where there's some honesty within the story, but also a zero tolerance for getting involved with any sort of clientele, especially when you're doing a government job. And I think there's something to learn from Tommy Lee Jones with a lot of roles that he plays.
My name is Newton. I run the place. Seen any aliens lately?
You need professional help, son.
He's getting it. It's not working.
Number 3, Men in Black 3.
Time, he never invited me to dinner. He never asked me to his house to watch a game. He never shared a single detail of his personal life.
I want to touch on 3 different points. The first is the introduction of the K character in a different light with the funeral of Zed. Then you have the K character that sounded so harsh, and then the character from the past. And this actor pulled off playing the same character, and it had the zero tolerance attitude towards the premise of the past. And yeah, the actor pulled it off well, but then with the end of that character's time in the story, it reveals a twist of the past, where Jay's father died, and then you see that there's a different respect for Jay realizing what Kay has done within his life to comfort him in that time of his father's loss. So within the end of the film, wrapping up the story, even though there's boundaries and protocols set in different professions, there was something else where there was a history that they shared that was obviously an age gap, and then there's a different present life moving forward, working together for the greater good of the community. And I just love the premise of Men in Black 3. It was my favourite film out of all three of them. I haven't seen the international one, and I cannot be bothered. Number 4, Hope Springs. The premise of the story is a couple who have been together long term, and they sleep in separate bedrooms. There's lots of factors why their relationship drifts apart, and she wants to go to do therapy within this retreat with this small town. Now, Tommy Lee Jones has a cynical attitude towards everything and a lot of negativity. Within the story, there is one point Steve Lacrell said with his character for therapy, and I think this is important. People go to couples therapy to repair their relationship or get the support to end the relationship. And it was that type of tension that added to the story to be a simple premise of two sides and which way is the story going to go. And with the character, there were some good scenes where they were trying to hold each other and be romantic, and I think even though he has a zero tolerance for BS, there was just something more about the premise of this story that brought Tommy Lee Jones into a different light and made him be more down to earth as an actor. And with this character, and Meryl Streep pulled it off as well. This was one of my good favourite movies, especially for romance and couples. Number 5, Jim Carrey.
Hate you. I really don't like you. And I pulled up a chair, which probably wasn't smart. And he said, I cannot sanction your buffoonery.
Yes, I got to touch on a point, and this goes through the internet in some pretty harsh ways, and the story does get mixed. With this moment, and I even applied this to myself with a co-worker when I was off with study and went back to work, and he surprisingly came back to the profession at the time, and he came up to me and said, "Oh, how's it going, Dark Sparrow?" And I just did the Tommy Lee Jones thing and said, "I can't take to your tomfoolery, go away." And even though I'm in a profession of nursing, you're supposed to work in with others, I got no time for other people's bullshit. And I do try not to swear on these channels. However, in this type of context as well, Tommy Lee Jones did the same thing to Jim Carrey and set a boundary in place and moved on with his life. And even Jim Carrey has confirmed that yes, this incident did happen. Number 6, Double Jeopardy. Ashley Judd played a fantastic role as the protagonist of the story, and Tommy Lee Jones has an antagonist type feel. In the premise of the story, she is accused of murdering her husband, and he's still alive. So she serves time in prison and goes to what Tommy Lee Jones says is last chance house. Not second chance house for people who have committed crimes, to rehabilitating back into society, getting off drugs or whatever. Last chance house. He has no time to help people through relapses or anything else. And he makes it quite firm and quite clear that there is no second chance. It's your last chance. And there are a couple things that are said within the story. Obviously, breaking the law. It's getting harder to have any sort of custody with your child. So there are a lot of things about his character and as the actor where he plays the roles well, and I think that's an important thing. Last chance house. Number 7, Man of the House.
Where's your happy face?
This is my happy face.
Well, I think we're going to have to turn that frown upside down.
This is not my genre, and it's not his genre, but starred in a movie about cheerleading and being there for security. There was also a different respect to something that I haven't enjoyed or appreciated being cheerleading. I have had a lot of different opinions about it, though within the premise of a story that's not my genre, I think he pulled it off and put a lot of different perspective and a bit of different respect into his role as the character to show an appreciation for cheerleading and to the role that he was playing to be man of the house, protecting these other women. So, again, you could write something that's not your genre and take to a character from the premise of that character and add them into a story. And it's amazing what you can come up with. I could see Tommy Lee Jones in so many different roles. It's kind of interesting, to be honest. And creating characters that you inspire from real actors might be something to do. Number 8. The Fugitive.
Ladies and gentlemen, our fugitive has been on the run for 90 minutes.
You look at the premise of the detective and how he's on the hunt for the fugitive. Now, I watched Wrongfully Accused many times first because it was out when I was a lot younger, so I enjoyed a lot of Leslie Nielsen films. I've watched the Wrongfully Accused with my son. When I did try to watch The Fugitive, I laughed at too many scenes, even though it wasn't funny, it was serious, because I couldn't disassociate the comedy from the reality, the more realistic story. And as I was saying in the other point, yes, you can take a character that you know or an actor and put them in a different role. And I think there was just something else where I can picture Tommy Lee Jones in different roles. Though again, I love the role he played in The Fugitive and how he had the zero tolerance and he's shooting for his goal and his objective. But then with Wrongfully Accused, unfortunately, I can't separate the two films. I'll always have Wrongfully Accused on my mind.
Nothing like a good movement.
Oh, Allah! Oh, my balls!
Muscle and prayers.
Number 9. Just Getting Started.
All right, I'll get you out of here, but on one condition. You tell me everything, no more bullshit.
Now, why would I bullshit you, Leo?
Okay, bloody chunks it is.
Morgan Freeman plays the protagonist. He's a womanizer, runs a country club, and they have certain rules and protocols to follow. But it's more loosely rules to help him and his friends. Little does everyone know, Tommy Lee Jones comes into the picture and disrupts that environment. Again, it seems like he might be the killer, planning to kill him, but the story unfolds that Morgan Freeman was on a trailer to a particular video about the resort, which also then broke his identity for witness protection, and that's why he was in that profession. There's also a bit of a love story that unfolds with another character coming along, but she ultimately chooses the right person, being Tommy Lee Jones. Though he offers to help him, and the conditions are made clear that he will only help him if he tells him everything now, including being in witness protection, so he can help the character. And I think that's important. There's a certain premise of setting boundaries with these types of stories, and I think with Tommy Lee Jones, even though there are a lot of roles that may be similar with a zero tolerance, there is just something else to learn from the actor, but he can still play a lot of different roles. I just appreciate a lot of the message that comes out within his stories. And again, we're repeating the same type of point, but I think that's the type of roles that he's best at, and I think as a person, he does have a zero tolerance for BS. Number 10. Final thoughts. I normally do a quote at the end, but there's not too many good quotes, so I'll just pull one up. I don't see people as groups, I see them as individuals. Again, it's been fantastic. I'm just going to end the video today by saying hit like and subscribe and comment. I thank you all for coming along, and I hope that when you are writing stories that you do draw some inspiration from some of the different videos that I'm doing, or different actors about the careers paths that they take. For now, I'm just going to end the video with a montage of Tommy Lee Jones from various interviews and his simple answers. And again, I'll see you all next time.
I want to be real.
Yeah. Do any of them stay with you, though? Do any of them ever come back to you?
No, I don't take my work home.
If you were able to go back and go to an earlier Tommy Lee Jones set and visit yourself and give you a piece of advice based on the acting knowledge you have now, well, what set would that be?
I don't have a clue.
No clue.
Well, Agent K is a character in a movie, and I'm me, and I'm real, and there's no... I'm not him, he's not me. A version of the character that I played in the first two movies and in the early part of this one.
Yeah.
He's not playing me, of course not. That's not very good thinking.
That character. But if you could be one of your characters for one day in real life, what character would that be?
Those characters are all imaginary.
Listen, I love Will and I wish him the best.